Good evening, everybody. Hello, and welcome to Forever Sports on Forever Rugby. My chair is a bloody disaster, and it's a bit of an impromptu stream. I forgot. Well, I didn't forget, but Eskom and load shedding meant that I couldn't schedule this and get everything ready to schedule this earlier. So I don't think we'll probably have too many people on the actual stream itself, unfortunately, because I think it's been a little bit sort of late and stuff like that. But hopefully, people get notification and they can jump on. But I thought, it's 8:15 in South Africa time. I'm going to be live on the Rugby Gurus channel at 9. We're going to be jumping on a preview with some other of the big YouTubers, rugby YouTubers in the country, which should be quite a lot of fun. I saw you going live with Gareth Mason. Yeah, it's myself, the Rugby Guru, Skinny Brew Rugby, and Gareth Mason all doing a preview on the Rugby Guru channel. So they'll be live at 9. So I thought I'd just come do a bit of a pre-stream here with you guys, chat a little bit about the weekend and stuff like that, what we can expect, and then we can all go enjoying that. So, hopefully we can I can take a few people there to try and add to that one and stuff like that. I can get myself a bit warmed up and get myself acquainted with what exactly we can expect this weekend. And maybe you can take some of your points and I can bring them up in that preview, which should be quite cool. But so smash the like button and I think it's the tension, isn't it? There's the tension in the air. Look, I mean, it is also the bloody cold front sweeping in and around South Africa at the moment. But there's definitely a sort of a palpable tension with all eyes ahead this weekend, as it really starts to get very real. This test series, which we weren't sure we were even going to get, were we going to have test match rugby? Were we going to have the Lions tour? Were we going to have to wait another 12 years before we got this game? We had the COVID outbreak with the Springboks. People saying scrap the tour. People saying that this tour is a farce. It means nothing. And yet, despite all that noise, despite all the negativity, on Saturday, the Lions test team, the Springboks will run out and we will finally get the test series that we've been waiting for since 2009. The British and Irish Lions will have a chance to dethrone the Springboks, really, off as not necessarily as world champions, obviously, but as the best side in the world, which I still think you probably are, because it is a bit of obviously an invitation side and stuff like that. But the last time we played against British and Irish Lions, it was an epic series. I mean, that 2009 series was a lot of controversy, a lot of a lot of people saying that it was cheating, and there was physicality was too much, and the Springboks were playing dirty and stuff like that. So there's quite a lot of sort of debate about the 2009 series. But fast forward 12 years, just as we were back in the time, current world champions, but with a new coach as well, by the way, interesting point. But it's the same coaching setup, really, minus Matthew Proudfoot and just Proudfoot that's left. We've got Don Human and we've got Dion Davids who's come in. Felix Jones, obviously, our overseas consultant and stuff like that. But I think it's this, that the title of the video is this the Springboks' toughest challenge ever? To be the world champions, to now take on what I think is arguably one of the best British and Irish Lions squads we've seen, in the last sort of decade, really. I mean, Warren Gatton was talking about the fact that he's never had such a difficult task choosing a squad as he has this weekend, because the quality in terms of the way people have played over the tour and stuff like that has been phenomenal. So it's a very tough, and I think that maybe what I would say is I don't think you look at that British and Irish Lions side and think that there are any of maybe the top 3 or 4 best players in the world. I don't think that. I think if you're looking at some of the best players in the world, something like Antoine Dupont, for example, I think is up there. Chesney Colby's up there. It's obviously a matter of opinion, stuff like that, but I don't think that there are, if you had to do World Player of the Year, for example, I don't think too many players across those 4 nations maybe necessarily get into that conversation. But what I will say is I don't think, in terms of the level of talent and the competitiveness of the actual British and Irish Lions squad, that is chalk and cheese. The fact that Liam Williams versus Stuart Hogg, that's your selection call. It's a really, really interesting team. And the fact that Ian Henderson, who I think has been fantastic, was fantastic in the Six Nations, really deserved a shot this weekend. He's not even in the final 23. You've got people like Josh Navidi, who is one of the Six Nations Player of the Season nominees, and he can't get into the 23. Hamish Watson, winner of the Six Nations Player of the Season, doesn't get into the starting lineup. It's a very, very good British and Irish Lions side. And whilst it's a good Springbok side, there's just so many question marks. Are we ready? Are we prepared? Can we actually do this? Is this too much to ask? So it's going to be a lot of questions answered this week. And I think that if the Springboks, especially without fans, I mean, I know fans would lift both sides, but I think that, it's quite and I think if it was a pandemic and you're playing, for example, at Ellis Park and you're playing at Loftus or, and I'm playing at FNB Stadium, even if there's 20,000 Red Army, there's 70,000 South Africans. And, I think it's quite it's not, one say it's a hostile place to play rugby. I think, if you go to Argentina, that's quite a hostile place, where you feel uncomfortable. But the buzz in the streets, there's no buzz in the streets. There's no sort of buzz in the bus going there that the Springboks can sort of really use to lift them. And I think the Springboks are very much like that. I think they're very sort of occasion driven. The World Cup, especially, we saw at the time with all the issues that in the country, and the fact that they're sitting over there thinking, listen, we've got a whole lot of crap going on back at home, but we can do something to change that. We can try and lift the nation. I think Springboks are such a sort of an occasion-driven side because that's always been the case in the history of South Africa. We've got sporting events which have always been used to try and sort of give a bit of hope and a bit of sort of something to celebrate within the nation. And I think that whilst we definitely need that this weekend, they won't be able to feel that immediate effect, in the crowds, in seeing people there in live saying, please go and do this for us. So I do genuinely think that this is probably one of the toughest things the Springboks have ever had to do. I mean, probably 1995, trying to win the World Cup when they hadn't been part of World Rugby for so many years. Definitely up there. But I think in the professional era, it's everything stacked up against the Springboks, isn't it? Lack of match practice, being at home and having no home fans. Now playing a 3-match series in Cape Town, whereas they would have liked to have come to the Highveld. Ellis Park is a fantastic hunting ground for the Springboks. It's if we were to have a home stadium for the Springboks, it would be Ellis Park. We've won a World Cup there. We've won historic tests against New Zealand there. That's where we want to play our rugby, and we're not going to get to play it there. So there are so many things that are going that are against the Springboks that I think it's a huge, huge ask. And, some people are saying that the Springboks are favourites going into this tournament. And I said that the British National Lions are always favourites, and somebody said they're not. But I think they are at the end of the day. Even when they went to play it against New Zealand, Scotland, Ireland, England, Wales make up 4 of the top 8 sides in the world. That's the reality. That's not an opinion. That is a fact. They make up 4 of the top 8 and definitely 4 of the top 10 sides in world rugby. And now they've taken a selection of players across the top 4 within the top 8 and said, go after number 1. They are the favourites going into this weekend. They are always the favourites. Doesn't matter who they play. They are always the favourites. Just like, if England were to win the World Cup and then South Africa putting this together and they put together a side with South Africans, New Zealand, Australia, and Argentina, they would be the favourites. It's the way the Lions work. They are always favourites going into any game. But far more this time, where they don't have to worry about home fans. They don't have to worry about 70,000 Springbok fans. They don't have to worry about going and playing at Ellis Park or playing at FNB Stadium, at altitude, which they've done a lot of training for. But it's always sort of that question: is altitude training really good enough? Does it do enough to give them that edge? So it's a huge, huge ask for this weekend. I'm so excited to see what they can do, because I think that if there's one side that rises to an occasion, it is generally the Springboks. And I think that, having some big names, someone like Siya Kolisi is also a very big occasion player. Often, when the chips are down and when he's under a lot of pressure, you'll see him putting in a really good performance. Kwaka Smith being ruled out as too small and stuff like that. You got to think, what's he going to bring this weekend? Honey L says, really good win for the Proteas. Great comeback. Yeah, fantastic to see Dave Miller back. A Miller masterclass, really. I thought, he hits the ball hard. We had load shedding, which is why I didn't manage to get enough prep for this show, and then I also haven't managed to put together as many videos as I want to today. So when I saw when the power came back and we could actually watch it, we were 75 for 5, and I'm thinking, goodness me, this is a disaster. But then some proper power hitting, nice contribution from Vian Mulder as well. And a couple of people are starting to come through. So jump in the comments. Let me know what you think is. What's that one part that you can't wait to see this weekend? Is it the scrum? Is it how Kwaka Smith is going to do? Is it going to be the tactics? What is that one sort of aspect of Saturday that you are like waiting for it? Is it that first time that Chisholm Colby's going to get the ball? We've all had moments. When I was sort of watching for example, like the Lions versus the British and Irish Lions, I was thinking, what's Vincent Chiruka going to do? That was like one of my biggest things. What's he going to do? So I think for me, the big moments I'm looking forward to this weekend, for me, it's the first scrum. I think that's going to be a monumental moment. And I think if the Springboks win that first scrum, that will go a long way to actually winning the entire series. Not even, and I think, and it sounds very premature, but I think it's the one area which a lot of people are saying that we're going to struggle at because we haven't selected necessarily our strongest front row. But I think if our second front row, if Trevor comes to the party, I mean, if Trevor has a storming game on Saturday, silences all the haters, that's the type of thing I want to see. I'm getting far too much criticism. And look, I mean, I'm also nervous. I'm definitely nervous about Trevor Nyakane. I definitely think that he's somebody who's under a lot of pressure and there are a lot of questions about him. But to say, for example, that he's never done well in the Springboks, he has had, it's a lie. We saw his 2019 form. He was looking really, really good going to the World Cup. We thought that he was going to have a fantastic tournament and then was injured. So I'm hoping that he's somebody that really sort of rises to the occasion and silences a lot of doubters. I feel for the Boks. Yeah, it's a big ask. Malcolm in the Polar Bear says, can't wait to watch Evan and Masters smash Murray and Alan Jones. That's a big battle, isn't it? That lock battle is going to be really, really cool. I'm chuffed that Alan Jones is playing. I think a lot of people are writing him off, and I think if there's one person I would never write off, it's somebody like Alan Jones. You do not write off somebody who's played 150 test matches. Yes, he's old, but cheapers, that experience he brings, and all the players just talk about how fit he is and how the fact that you can't believe that he's that old when you look at his sort of his training intensity. So I'm very keen to sort of see the performance he puts in this weekend. Washington Clerk get underpriced and damn bigger skin. Yeah, that's going to be, I mean, I think that's going to be quite important. I mean, big moment for Ali Price. I think he's somebody that the Springboks should probably try and target because I don't think that he was planning on starting. Well, not planning. I mean, he would have always been planning on trying to start. But I don't think he truly believed he would be the starting scrum half in that first test, but he's playing himself into contention. But it's one thing to do that against the franchise sides. Can you now do it against a full-blooded Springbok side? That's the question he has to answer this weekend. Jack Bell says, I'm excited for the first scrum between the Stars and then the finishes because those two scrums will set the tone on each team. Oh yeah, 100%. If we're under pressure, because pressure can do strange things. Sometimes you can put on a front row and you can just change the game. They can really sort of solidify. But sometimes you can put a front row, and even though there might be a better front row, because they've had the momentum, I mean, it's a bit of a confidence thing, isn't it? If you've had somebody number the entire game and you've been scrumming them into submission the entire 80 minutes or entire 60 or 50, 60 minutes, you'll have the confidence to continue doing it. Even when your bench comes on and you think, right, these guys have got the go-forward ball, we're going to get that go-forward ball. Sometimes it just clicks like that. So it's not easy to be able to come on and just immediately just try and shift a scrum. Welcome to the person. I'm watching Colby run rings around doing in front of Merva and whisper in his ear, you traitor. I don't think. Look, I'm sure there will be targets him. I wouldn't really call you a traitor. I think that he's someone that just didn't work for him in the country, and a lot of people, lots happened here. So it should be quite interesting to see what we see from them. Anything nice or new for the Boks versus the British and Irish Lions game? Not really, I'm afraid. I was trying to think of something. I want to try and see if I can try and spice a few things up. So I don't really have anything at the moment. I'll see if I can try and conjure up a few things. It was pretty much the new stuff was for the tour, the new studio and everything like that, and put a lot of time and effort into that. I'll tell you what, that didn't take. That it wasn't cheap, for example, and even the other stuff, the stuff that I did and stuff like that, it took a long time. So we'll see. I'll try and add a few things to it and try and spice things up. We never want to sort of rest on our laurels and make sure we get something nice going there. But yeah, I'm just itching. It's almost why we're doing these live streams. We've got nothing else to do besides just like this excitement of Saturday. And one of the best ways for me to just try and fill gaps between this weekend is to come on here and chat with you, because and we're having the same conversations over and over again because we're so excited. And this is what happens when you announce a team on bloody Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. We sit there now for the entire week, sitting there going, can we just play the game? Whereas at least if you name it on Thursday, suddenly you're like, wow, okay, Thursday night we can chat, Friday night we can analyze, Saturday we play. But now we've been chatting on Tuesday night, we've been chatting on Wednesday night, we're still chatting on Thursday night. But it'll be nice to jump on to Rugby Guru and the other guys and have a nice sort of general chat about that. We had Sean Husson on the channel on Wednesday, and I think we had quite a cool little chat about just talking about some of the players who have impressed us. Hope to see Rusty on the field as the water boy, and Warren Gatlin sees that, then starts throwing the papers around out of the frustration at the coaching box. I have had a hard time sleeping this week because of my excitement levels. Yeah, it's difficult sort of watching other other sporting events. I was busy watching the South African. I was watching the Olympics today. I was busy watching the football between South Africa and Japan, and like you're just sitting there thinking, this is great, but I can't get into it the same way because I'm just so focused on this. And I think the sad thing is that I love the Olympics, and I'm really going to start getting into the next couple of days. But it's always just been so many months, so many years. This is it. This is it. So yeah. Did you see the article on an ex-ref saying Russia is not allowed to be a water? Well, I didn't see the article. I'll go check it out. It's not a new thing. It's really not a new thing having staff members down there and being part of it. It's probably new that somebody as big, as important as him, but he's not the head coach. In fact, he's not technically part of the coaching setup. If you look at the coaching setup, he's not a coach. He's not an assistant coach. He's the director of rugby. So in that regard, I don't see why he wouldn't be allowed to do it. I mean, do you have to have a designated, hire somebody in his job description? On his office in the SA Rugby buildings, does it say Steve Waterboy? I mean, so I'll be interested to see what they're referring to there, because he's not technically part of the coaching setup. They and at the end of the day, you can do what you want. It's the way you run your unions. You don't have. We've got a director of rugby. Other nations might not have a director of rugby. In other nations, your head coach is your director of rugby. Sometimes the head coach is called the director of rugby in other places. It's all about semantics and stuff like that. So I'll be surprised sort of what they're trying to reference, the reason why I can't do it. I'll try and find the article and maybe we'll talk about it tomorrow. So in terms of tomorrow, what you can expect from the channel, we got up the interview from Jack Conan. I actually thought it was a really nice press conference from Jack Conan. I think probably one of the better ones, just in terms of they're all answering the same questions. They're all sort of it's such a big occasion. But I think, when you sort of watch the thing today, you can see how much sort of mentioned and how much it's been a step-by-step process to be actually getting here, which is quite cool. And I think I'm trying to think of who I saw a thread today of one. Oh, it's Tad Byrne talking about his sort of his step-by-step thing and how basically 2015, 2016, wasn't going to be able to play, was released, and then he got a contract in, I think it was Scarlets or Dragons in Wales, and then brought back, and he only became a test starter for Ireland this year, and now he's named on the bench for the Lions this weekend in the test. There's some really, really cool stories. And I really enjoyed that Jack Conan interview earlier. And I think that he's someone who has worked his way into that starting lineup. I think I don't think he would have been the number one choice. I mean, you got to think that Faletau was probably, especially off the back of Six Nations form, was breaking the door down to that number 8 for the Lions. But just Jack Conan's probably just been better on the tour. So, I'm glad to see his award. And if he doesn't play well, then boom, you bring back Talapi Faletau. What a nice position to be in. But I'm glad that there are certain a lot of these players are being rewarded with form, which is why you kind of have to feel for somebody like Josh Adams, who's been scintillating and doesn't get the nod. But I think that's a tactical position for that. But it's again, if any of those back three have a bad game, then boom, Josh Adams comes straight back in. Do you think Duran can still be a Bok in the future? No, I don't. I think that ship sailed. I think, if you do leave it, you have to wait so many years before you play international rugby. And why would he? He was told he wasn't going to be good enough. He's gone to Ireland. He's really embraced Ireland, Scotland, and he's really embraced Scottish culture. He's now made a move, I think, to the Premiership rugby. But I think, I think it's quite important. He just done the same thing. If you are going to change nationality, switch allegiances, you've got to embed yourself in the culture. You cannot just be that guy. You cannot be a South African playing for Scotland. You've got to become a Scottish player. You've got to embrace the culture. You've got to embrace the people. You've got to really sort of jump into the culture, stuff like that. You don't just want to be that person who lives in South Africa, goes over there, plays rugby, comes back to South Africa, doesn't mingle with anybody, doesn't sort of relate to people. And I think CJ Steiner did it very well. He went over, then he committed, and he became part of the community, and that's why he was so well respected, because they felt like he was one of their own, because he genuinely said, right, I want to play for Ireland, and therefore I need to become Irish. I need to do things the way Ireland people do. I need to be able to I need to relate to the Irish public. I need to be I need to be Irish. So much like Imran here in South Africa, how he says, and even the Beatles Tariwa, how they said that they are so proud to be South African, not just playing for South Africa. So I don't think it works if you had that sort of mentality of and if my main sort of team wants to pick up here. It's the same as all the New Zealanders and all the Fijians, Samoans, and Tongans. They have to really sort of endorse the whole All Black story. Jack Balsera says, I think that the Lions 15 is more based on keeping and attacking with ball. So if they have to keep the ball more than normal, I think it will cause more problems in the kicking game. I mean, I'll be surprised if we do. We've never been a particularly well sort of, possession-driven side. I mean, I think if we can go look at some of the games for the Springboks over the years, let's put them up in an Ultimate Rugby, shall we? And go and see what our stats were over the last couple of games. So say rugby players are very robot-like in their media interviews, can be boring sometimes, no self-expression, no personality. Yeah, I think they can, which is why I quite like Taddy Furlong's interview. I think quite a few people said that they liked him. He just seems like a very down-to-earth individual. I don't think he enjoyed some of the questions he was asked. I think that even he thought some of the questions were a bit mundane. But it's funny how some of them sort of come across as very plain, and some of them manage to get their personality through. And I think a lot of it comes to some of the questions you make. For example, I'm so excited for you guys to see the interview with Vincent Tuka tomorrow. I'm nervous almost, for you guys to see it, because I really, really enjoyed it, and I really hope you guys like it tomorrow, because I just thought he's such a nice guy, and he said so many things, and I think the more he sort of spoke, the more I sat there thinking that this kid is actually going to be very special. I can sort of say he's kid, because he is younger than me by a couple of years, but it wouldn't be too impressive if he saw me saying that. I'm definitely not going to argue with him at his side. But if we look at the World Cup final, we're just talking about possession with the Springboks. The World Cup final, we had 44% possession. England at 56. That semi-final against Wales, we had 39% possession. Wales had 61%. Up against Japan, in the quarterfinal, we had 46 possession. They had more possession. I mean, against Italy, we had 55% possession. So it's only against something like Italy where we actually had more possession. So I'd be very surprised if we keep more ball tomorrow. I mean, I think given the fact that it sounds like it could be a little bit wet underfoot, that I think that obviously then the kicking game comes out, doesn't it? And we will kick the ball a hell of a lot on Saturday. Marco, the problem is they don't want to make a mistake or leak some of the plans or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I think it's always something sometimes difficult, and that's why what I would like the Forever Sports podcast to become is to become a bit of an area where these players can sort of relax a little bit. I'd like to sort of have more long form, sort of an hour sort of conversation where you can sit down and you can actually get the personality out. Because I think it's difficult. I mean, and a press conference is very much a back and forth, very me in front of a team of people. It's quite a stressful situation, really, where you can't say the wrong thing, and you can't say things that'll make them not like you, because then it's only going to paint you in a bad picture. Whereas I think that, with the idea of like a podcast or a long form interview and it's a conversation, you've got more opportunity to try and, bring your personality through, and say, this is who I am. This is what I think. So that's my dream, is as I've always wanted to do sort of long form interview and stuff like that. And I'm hoping that this is the start of something which I can try and make that'll be quite special in the future. Jonathan will be at the next Bright wearing a kilt and playing the bagpipes. I hope not. The bagpipes are horrendous. They're bloody hard to play as well, by the way. We've got a set here at my house. And Christ, if anyone's ever tried to play the bagpipes, they're bloody hard. We've got 20 minutes until I'm live on the Rugby Gurus channel. So I'm thinking we need to do a bit of a raid where hopefully we can all here then jump onto his stream over there. But we need to be able to sort of say that we've come from our stream. So if anybody's got like a phrase or wording that we can say that when we sort of move across there, to show that I brought you. It's just trying to say that I was, because I actually I haven't been particularly good. I haven't been particularly good at sharing the links and tweeting stuff like that. I've been so busy. So if anyone's got like a Forever Sports phrase that we can use when we jump across to that stream in 20 minutes, drop them in the comments. They get you suggestions, stuff like that. Maybe a hashtag or something. It should be quite cool. It should be quite cool. It'll be myself, Gareth Mason, Skinny B Rugby, as well as, of course, the Rugby Guru. So we'll be live at 9:00. So hopefully it'll be quite a lot of fun. The first time I've appeared on somebody else's channel, actually, I've had a couple people on here, not that they've got their own channels, and I've been wanting to do more collabs, but it's such a I've got such an ever-changing schedule. I mean, unfortunately, I don't work a 9 to 5 job Monday to Friday, so I can't. It's so difficult for me to plan anything in advance because my schedules. I mean, one week I'll work on Saturdays and Sundays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and the next week it changes. Sometimes it's day and night, stuff like that. So that's why I haven't, unfortunately, had more collaborations, because I'd like to sort of do more of that kind of thing. Mostly it's sort of like, I mean, even when Lekanya on and when Sean's on, for example, even then it's often like on the day, like, listen, I'm going to do a live show tonight. Are you keen to jump on? And like, yeah, cool, I can or I can't. So yeah, it's gonna be cool. Farrell to get red carded. I mean, he'll be impressed because I think he's only going to get sort of 20 to 30 minutes on the thing. Yeah, I mean, the safest one is probably hashtag FS. So I think we'll do that. When we all jump across to the Rugby Guru's channel, we'll all go with hashtag FS on there, and then we can get the comments going and stuff like that. Do me proud, by the way. I know a lot of you people watch all of our channels, which is really cool. But if you're new to their channel, go and subscribe to them as well. And go jump in the chat as well, stuff like that, and get a conversation going, because these shows are made by you at the end of the day. I mean, that's why we it sounds very corny, our phrase, for the fans, by the fans, but at the end of the day, if it's me chatting into a webcam to 0 people, it's just shit. I literally, I mean, the entire time all we have been doing is chatting to the comments, and that's what we're doing mostly in the live stream. So it only helps when you guys like jump in, stuff like that. I see the Rugby Gurus watching us. So YouTube, a great platform to showcase talent. Thanks to them, I earned a job at a gaming company, so keep going. The sky's the limit. Well, maybe Sky Sports could be the limit. There we go. I like thinking. I'm going to jump on that. And I'm hoping that more sort of mainstream media starts realizing the potential in YouTube, because there are a lot of South Africans doing some cool things on YouTube, but none of the mainstream media have really sort of jumped on it. And it's quite frustrating. If you watch football, you'll see a lot of their content creators are starting to sort of make it onto the mainstream. I mean, Sky Sports, for example, is doing a lot of things with content creators and stuff like that. So hopefully that people like myself and Rugby Guru and Gareth Mason and Skitty Rugby and stuff like that are pioneering a bit of a new genre. I'm very new. I'm the newbie on the block. They've been going for a lot longer than I have. I only started really in September last year, so still sort of learning the ropes. But it's cool, and I really, really enjoyed the platform you guys have got. So yeah, so we'll call it a day here in about 8 or 9 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So I've got time to go and get some water and stuff like that, and get myself something to drink for the show and stuff like that. So yeah, what are some of the final thoughts about this weekend? We talked about the scrums, and I think we know the scrums are going to be a big battle. I think the benches are very interesting. I think the benches are very, very interesting. I think that we're seeing two very contrasting benches, where I think that we have got a bench to chase a game potentially, whereas I think I think they've got a bench which is very good at seeing a game off and making sure that what if they've got a lead, they can defend it. I think Squid Rugby land himself a great job. Yeah, I heard he's doing a whole lot of stuff. I think it's I don't know if it's for Sky or if it's for, I think it's for Sky. Doing a whole lot of stuff, but I mean, he's next level. His dedication, when you look at what he does and he puts out, I don't have time for that. He's unbelievable. But it's so nice to be able to sort of have that sort of stuff. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the future brings. I mean, for me, this was just a bit of a lockdown. It was lockdown when I really first started getting into YouTube and started watching more people and stuff like that. And I wasn't even planning on doing rugby. I'm a big football fan, so I sort of started with Manchester United stuff like that, and then decided, you know what? Let me jump on rugby, use it as a way of getting more back into my local rugby and stuff like that, trying to find some new interest, and it's been really, really fun. So, yeah, we'll probably end off in about 4 minutes. So I'm gonna put the link in the chat now, and I'll pin it as well. So that's don't leave yet, but that's the link for the chat there. I'm over there, the Rugby Gurus channel. So we'll be live there in 40 minutes exactly. So yeah, we're not in here. Jump across there, and I think we're using the hashtag. We're going with the hashtag FS. So the more of you guys that say hashtag FS, then at least it shows that you guys are coming from my channel, and I did a bit of to try and promote the show, because I've been pretty slack with all my social media this week. It's just been it's been such a busy week. I mean, we were trying to count the amount of videos we've been putting out in the last sort of week and a half, and it's well over 50. So many press conferences to be in. And they hate us. I mean, why the Springbok media managers and the Lions media managers can't just chat to each other and organize press conferences at different times? But literally, I've got 2 PCs set up. I'm there with Warren Gatland. I'm there with Jacques Nienaber. It's a bit of a disaster. But and then we've hardly been able to do our Curry Cup stuff because it's been so busy. So go and check out the interview. The press conference with Ivan van Rooyen earlier. He had to answer quite a few tough questions about how horrible the Sigma Lions are at the moment, and the fact that there's a lot of things wrong with that union. I think my rant yesterday might have actually just ruled out any potential job I might have had there, because it's just such a frustrating union. But it's all set out of love. It's because I love that union. I need them to stop acting like amateurs and get their act together and start pumping money and players and all these things. 50 over a week and a half. Wow, that's some dedication. Yeah, it's. I mean, look, a lot of it's press conference stuff like that. But and the whole point. I mean, what I wanted to do. I mean, it's the coverage we've done is so different to what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in the stadiums. I wanted to be taking you guys behind the scenes. Being able to show you what it's like to go to a press conference. What the setup's like, who you ask questions, stuff like that. I want to do more vlogs and stuff. But unfortunately, every single thing's been done in my blooming room, which is getting a bit of cabin fever. But it's been really cool otherwise to actually be, and at the same time, we've been able to do a lot of chances because it's been online, which has been opening up a whole different thing. But we'll have chances to hopefully do more vlogs and do more behind the scenes stuff. Random question, mate. Is it winter right now in SA? Mate, it is black. Today is the coldest day of the year so far. It is flipping freezing. Tafellager Park, where the Griquas play rugby, it's snowing there today. They posted a video of it snowing at the stadium today. That's how cold it is in South Africa at the moment. I think tonight in Johannesburg is an overnight low of like -1 or -2. Yeah, overnight low of -1. I mean, tomorrow, waking up at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, it's 0 degrees. 3 degrees at 9. Geez, like it's 60. Goodness me. I tell you what, if the bottle stores were open, brandy will be sold out this weekend. Brandy, rum, all of the last, because it is freezing down here. But I'm going to call it there so I can go and get some water and stuff like that, and then jump on to the next stream. So everybody, we're going across to the Rugby Gurus stream. I'll put the link once again in the comments. Oh, it's actually right there. So this is the comment there. So jump across to that video and stuff like that. We're using the hashtag FS to show that you've come from here, and we'll be live there in about 10 minutes. So I'll chat to you guys all on the other side. And I'll hopefully see you guys tomorrow night. I might jump on tomorrow night, but the premiere of the Vince Tuka interview will be tomorrow at 7 o'clock. So make sure you go and check it out. I'm so excited for you guys to see it. It's the start of what I'm hoping is going to be a really, really cool addition to the channel. Trying to sort of line up a couple of other guests and stuff like that. There's one guest I really want to get, which I think is going to be a fantastic interview. So if we can get that right, then I'll be very excited. But that'll be coming out tomorrow, and then we'll have press conferences. We'll have Cedric Leesy's pre-match press conference tomorrow. We'll have the Lions pre-match press conference tomorrow. We'll have all the previews for the Curry Cup, as well as our official Lions versus Springboks preview tomorrow as well. Thank you very much for watching. Do keep safe, and I'll chat to you guys in a little bit on the Rugby Guru stream. Chat soon.